Good morning, friends. I hope everyone is doing well. I request everyone to watch my videos in a sequence for better understanding. In the earlier video, I have discussed various program control instructions such as branch, jump, skip, call and return. In this video, I want to discuss about call and return instructions in detail. Okay. Now, if you see that I have instructions 1, instruction 2, instruction 3. Okay. They are in the locations 100, 101, 102. Now let's take that I am executing instruction 1. And instruction 1 is a call instruction. What it is calling? It is calling the subroutine which is there in the 200 location. Then what will happen? It will go and execute the instructions which are there in the 200, 201 and 202 and 203. Then only it will come back to the next instruction I2. That is what the purpose of call instruction. Call is that calling a subroutine, and return instruction is useful for you to return back. Okay, in a functions also we will call it and then we will write a return statement. Am I right? Similar purpose we are using here. Now let's take that. In this subroutine, let me write it as S1. Subroutine 1, you are executing instructions 200. Then when you are executing instruction which is there in 201, which is I51, then what is happening? It is calling again a subroutine S2. Okay, then it will execute the instructions which are there in the 301, 302, 303 and 304. Then it will return back to the instruction I52. So that is the way the program will be executed in this instruction set. Now let me discuss how it will be happening. Okay, now you can ask me, sir, you are writing this instruction. The meaning is that when you are calling this instruction, actually when this instruction is executing, let's take that instruction 1 is executing, what are the information will be there in the program controller? Can anyone tell me? When you are executing the instruction 1, what is the next instruction should be executed? 101 only. Okay, because once you are executing instruction 1, you should execute the instruction 2. But instruction 1, once you fetch the instruction and decode the instruction and execute the instruction, there only you understood that the target address is 200, not 101. Is it clear? Are you able to understand it or not? Is it clear? If the call 200 is there, then only you will come to know that no, I no need to execute, means I should not execute 101 or the instruction I2 in the next. I should execute the next instruction as I50. Then what will happen? How the program controller will change? Now the program controller should have the 200 location. Am I right or wrong? Then it is executing. Once it is executing the fetched this instruction I50 and started executing, the next instruction should be executed is 201. Am I right? And it has finished that one. Then what will happen? It will fetch the I51 instruction, means in instruction register you will have I51. Then what is the program controller will have? 202, because the address of the next instruction. Now once you executed the instruction, you came to know that target address is 301. Then what will happen? The program controller should be modified to 301. Am I right or wrong? Now listen carefully. Once you executed all these instructions 60, 61, 62, 63, then you should return back. Where you should return back? To the instruction 52. Then how you will return back? If you store this address, am I right? If you store this address 202, then only while you are calling this instruction, if you can able to store this address 202, then only once it is finished executing all these instructions, it will come back. Am I right or wrong? Similarly, once it execute all the instruction, then only if you store this address 101 somewhere, then only it can come back. Otherwise, how it will come to know that it will, which instruction it will come back? Am I right or wrong? Now, the storing of the address of the next instruction, meaning is that this 101, 202 can be done in multiple ways. Like people have done in multiple ways storing and then they could able to failure, and finally they came to the proper solution. So what are the things they have tried is, first they started storing in a register. Okay, this 101 means return back address they would able to store in the register. What will happen if it is done with the register, we will discuss. And then they stored in the subroutine itself, and they tried it. What are the problems they have faced, we will discuss. And then they have tried to store it in some address location. Okay, and they have started storing in the stack. We all know that, am I right? We all know that whenever the stack will be useful for what? Whenever you are executing the in functions, and you will have this stack. But how it is done, people does not know. Meaning is that why it is only stack, why it was successful only when you store it in the return address in the stack, we will discuss now. But first let me discuss about the register. Okay, why the register was not successful. Now let me discuss it. Once you call the instruction 200, then what is the value it should be there? It should have, let's take that I have a register R1. It is having 101. Yeah, it is okay. You are storing the return address 101. Meaning is that once you execute all these instructions which are there in the subroutine S1, you should come back. Okay, no problem. But what it is doing? It is calling another subroutine. Can a function call another function? Yes, it can do it. So that's why this subroutine is calling another subroutine. Now what the value it should store? It should store it as 202. Now what is happening? You are deleting the 101 and storing 202. Now it can come back, but from here how you will go back, because you erased the address 101. Are you able to understand it or not? So you can go back from here to here, but from here how you will go? You have erased that address. So that's why registers storing the return address in a register does not work. Now we will discuss what will happen in the subroutine. Before discussing about the subroutine, I will discuss in some address location. Let's take that I have stored in some address location some 2000 in address location. I stored the value 101. And then again I need to store 202. Then I have to delete this one and I need to store 202. Am I right or wrong? So similarly, the same what is happening with the registers, if I store in some address location also, it will happen the same thing. Okay, so that's why register and some address location storing is not successful. Now we will discuss what happened if we store it in a subroutine. Now let's take that. Meaning is that the return address, let's take that I am storing here in 101. Means once I have to execute all these instructions, then only I have to go to in the address 101 and execute the instruction 2. Am I right or wrong? Now let's take that I am storing 101. Yeah, it is doing good. Now here I am storing it as 202. Then what will happen? Let's see that. Once this subroutine call is happened, it will store the value 101 here. Yes, good. So it is 201. Again call return is happening and it has to go to 202. So that's why it is storing the return address as 202 here. So in this case it will work, because once you execute all these instructions, you will go to 202 location and you will execute I52. And then once you execute all the instructions in subroutine 1, then you will go back to 101. It is doing very well. But what is the problem? Now we will discuss. Can a function call itself? Yes, we will call it as a recursion. So similarly, a subroutine can call itself. So if the subroutine calls itself, meaning is that if it is calling to itself, then what is the address it has to store? It will store the next instruction as 202. Am I right or wrong? Means return address, because here you are calling that itself. Okay, so the target address will be 200. The return next instruction will be 202. In that case, you have erased 101. Am I right or wrong? Is it clear? A function, you are only telling that a function can call itself. Now a function called here itself, instead of calling this one, it called itself. Then if it's calling itself, the return address will be 202. If it stored 202 here, previously 101 is there, it was erased. So even storing the return address in a subroutine also will not work. So that's why people have gone for the stack. How they have gone for the stack? Let me discuss. Means how you can store the return address in a stack, we will discuss. Now I think everyone know what is the purpose of a stack. Stack will work with the principle of first in last out, and we have push pop operations are there. To push is useful for inserting an element into the stack. Pop is useful for deleting the topmost element from the stack. Am I right or wrong? So we will have a stack pointer or a top which will pointing to the topmost element in the stack. So I hope you know these basics of stack. Okay. So now let me discuss how it will happen. Let's take that. My return address, when I am executing this instruction, okay, my return address should be 101. Let me store here 101. What will happen? We will see. And when we are executing this instruction, okay, return address should be 202. Am I right or wrong? So then how it will happen? We will see this scenario. Now once you are executing all the instructions which are there in subroutine 2, you should go to the instruction I52 which is there in the address location 202. So you will go here because the stack pointer is pointing to this one. Okay. Okay, is it clear? Sorry, stack pointer will be pointing here. With the mechanism I will discuss, then the stack pointer will be located here. Okay. So 202 it is there. So it will fetch that instruction which is there in the 202 location, and then it will delete and it will execute this one. So you can do it with the help of a stack. That's what you have understood. Now how I will done with the stack, let me discuss it. Okay. How it can be done with the help of a stack. Whenever you are calling a subroutine, means whenever you are calling a subroutine, what are the things you have to do? Whenever you are calling the subroutine, first thing what you have to do, you have to store the return address in a stack. That's what only we have discussed. The step 1 is that whenever this one call has happened, you should store the return address in a stack. That is the step 1. And step 2 is that you have to increment the stack pointer. Is it clear? The top value you should increment, and then whatever the effective address meaning is the 200 location here, that should be stored in the program controller, because program controller should have the address of the next instruction you are fetching. So whenever you are calling a subroutine, the 3 things will happen. One is that then in the stack pointer on the stack you will store the program controller value, because program controller, whenever you are executing the instruction I1, it will have the program controller will have 101. So that value I need to store it in the stack. So I have a stack and I will store the 101 value. Now stack pointer is pointing to here. Now what I will do is that I will increment the stack pointer. So stack pointer will be pointing to here because it is the topmost element. Okay. Now program controller will have the effective address. So program controller is equal to the effective address or the target address. So in this case it is 200. Okay. Are you able to understand? So whenever the call is happening, these things will happen. Now we will discuss whenever the return will happen. Meaning is that when you are coming back, what are the things should happen? Okay. First thing is that the stack pointer is pointing to here. Now how you will get the 101? If you decrement the stack pointer. So first thing is that you have to decrement the stack pointer value. Is it clear? Are you able to understand? Then you should have the program controller should have this address. Okay. Are you able to understand it or not? So this is the instructions will be executed, or I can say that these are the micro instructions will be executed whenever there is a call instruction is happening, and return instruction is happening, these are the sub or micro instructions will be executed. Are you able to understand? Then you can ask me, sir, why you are incrementing the stack pointer value? Because next time I should store the value 202. Am I right? So that's why I'm incrementing the stack pointer once I have inserted the value 202. Then next time it will have the stack pointer will be pointing to here. So with the, I hope with this one you have understood the call and return instructions properly, and how we can able to store with the help of stack, and why, what is the failure with the register, storing the return address in the register, in the subroutine, and in the fixed memory location. Is it clear? Are you able to understand? Then we have discussed about the stack. So I hope you have understood all the concepts which I have discussed in this video. If you still have any doubts, feel free to ask me in the comment section. And if you have a shy to ask the comments in the your queries in the comment section, you can send an email to parnikatutorials@gmail.com. I will give it in the description section. You can check it. Okay. And some people are asking me about the notes. I have the notes. I have prepared the notes. If you want the notes, I have given the what are the things you should follow if you want the notes. So I request you to please watch the or please read the description section. Then you will understand when you will get the notes. I hope you are understanding everything which I am discussing. If you really like my video, please press the like button, share the video with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching my video. Have a nice day.